Edith is, she's very strong-willed and a bit of a loner, I guess. She likes to think she's very intellectual and very sort of sure of things. But in a way, I think, unfortunately, like the more she loses, the more it kind of actually benefits her in a strange way. Thomas sort of comes into the story as a very mysterious character. We don't really know much about him other than he's trying to kind of get funding for his mines. And Edith is kind of immediately struck by him, although she didn't expect in any way to feel that way. But yeah, he's a very mysterious character. There's something kind of dark about him and slightly brooding, but at the same time very warm and sort of young. Lucille is maybe like a little colder, a little hard to tell exactly who she is and what her relationship with her brother is like. And Edith and Lucille never quite managed to like hit it off in any way. But yeah, she's a fascinating character. She's very mysterious, and as the film progresses, a lot of details of her life and her past come out, and she's a very layered, very interesting character. There's one sort of speech in the film where I think Edith talks about how places kind of hold emotions, or certain emotions or feelings are kind of held to either a land or a person or a place, and Allerdale Hall is definitely one of those places that is haunted by sort of the horrible things that have happened within its walls. Guillermo kind of wanted to contrast Edith and Lucille, in ways that represented their characters. Or he wanted to contrast them visually in ways that would, also represent their differences as characters. So he had me in a lot of bright colors, yellow and whites, and all the costumes were so incredibly beautiful, but very like kind of butterfly-like and very flowy and open and bright. And then Lucille was in, quite dark, restricted, very tight, closed clothing. And she was sort of more like, I guess, a moth. He's very emotional and very instinctive and responsive. I never would have thought this was a film that was kind of always evolving, because we had a rehearsal period and we would read the scripts and the scenes and talk about things, and I thought that was kind of it. But then when we got on set and he sort of would see how we were playing things and see how the dynamics were coming out between the characters, he then would kind of like, or comments that people would make, he would then kind of like get really hooked on certain things that people would say and comments that were made, and then he'd kind of go away at night and come back the next day and be like, I had an idea, and the whole thing would just keep changing.